G'day, everybody. Welcome back to the show. For those of you who don't know who we are, I represent several teams of very, very talented astral projectors, and we fly around at night trying to shut down the cabal and its non-physical allies. And we've been very, very successful. There's this, this video that will explain more about the precursors that led this group to existence. What we're talking about today is Findhorn. So I put out a broadcast over social media recently looking for somebody who can put me in touch with one of the old wizards of Findhorn. Now, as it turns out, there aren't any. Or if there are, they're in hiding, or anyway, I never heard back from that. And as much as I would have liked to involve some of their people, that just wasn't feasible. So our team went and worked on Findhorn. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Findhorn, Findhorn is a community that began in Scotland in the 70s, and it's a community whose key technology is magic. And one of the things they were very, very well known for was the vegetables they grew. You see, the land in Scotland is marginal at best. It's pretty rough country. But these guys were getting, cucumbers this long, zucchinis longer than your leg, pumpkins the size of barrels. It was amazing what was coming out of their gardens. And all they did was talk to the fairies and talk to the plants and give the plants everything they needed, including love. And these guys, they had a lot of love and light flying around in that group, and it worked wonders in the garden. However, that location now no longer teaches anything. It's just a holiday resort. You can just lease a cabin there. All of the old community that was based in magic has been effectively snuffed out. And it's probably one of the reasons why I couldn't find anyone who used to live there. But you see, just living on love and light is what made them incredibly popular, but it's also spelled their demise. Because if you don't have any anti-dark work, then the dark gets jealous of your success. And that's exactly what happened here. One of my clients used to live there. They were telling me stories because I love hearing these stories. And everything just rang alarm bells in my head that she was telling me. So I went over and had a look and scanned the site, and there was concentric rings of demonic portals, like smaller, larger, 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 until the largest was twice the diameter of a football field. And I suspect that would make the social scene at Findhorn really, really difficult, really, really hierarchical, and kind of petty. If I'm guessing right. But the demonic influence on a place like that would have to be subtle and undermining is how they would choose to do it. And being petty and hierarchical will do that to a community, will destroy it. So this is the part where our team shows up and shuts down all of those portals. And what we found was a phenomenon that we haven't seen before, nor are we likely to see anywhere else. Now, what we think this was it was a stone obelisk at some point in time, but it was charged with so much magic and so much power and so many records and so much material and so much power and so much fuel that after the stone pillar had been knocked down, the etheric one still exists. The non-physical one is still there. And so too is the rich, rich library that it embodies. And this is most likely the reason why Findhorn was placed there. This is probably the reason why Findhorn was located there, is because some of the original wizards were aware of this. Now, the powers that be can't allow anyone to do living better than they do. You can't have a community that offers people a better way of life than the 9 to 5 and the rat race that's commonly offered. So, the dark magicians got onto it, and they managed to put a collar on this stone, on this obelisk, which we think predates the Atlanteans. It definitely predates written history, but we don't really know how old it is. So it's unfathomable what's in there, and nor do we actually have time to really pick through that library and catalogue it, because we don't know what's there. And so the dark side had put a collar on this and limited its what's the word I'm looking for? And limited people's capacity to access that library. And in the meantime, just used it as a storehouse for all of their negative energy, for all their loose. So they just kept pouring loose into this pocket dimension that, as it turns out, was also a library. It's like backing dump trucks up to a university library and filling the building so full of garbage that nobody can get anywhere near the books. That's what they did. So our team cleaned all of that up. And we were sort of debating over what the next move was. And Gaia, and when we debate, we refer it to Gaia. And Gaia pointed out one very important thing, that part of this library was one of the original alien claims to the planet. Now, for those people who've just been watching recently and not from last year or maybe even the year before, we were trying to figure out who owns planet Earth. And we found 4 different legal depositories where the names of the claimants of Earth varied, be they reptilian or Pleiadian. Those were the 2 front runners. But we found one of the original pieces of evidence that they owned the place in this library. And it was, forged literature that they put in the library, forged documents effectively. Or that's the best way to describe it. Another way it would be to describe it would be, do you remember when the Yanks landed on the moon and they put a flag on there? And, did they say that was the American territory or not with that flag? What did they really mean? Pushing aside the doubts that they went there at all. But the phenomenon of that flag claiming foreign land is exactly the analogy that this deposit in the library was. And so we drew it and we crushed it and we erased it on all timelines and all extensions. So we just have one less legal drama to go through once we liberate this planet from its nasty overlords. Another feature of the Findhorn land is written in the land itself. Now, it has significant ley line structures, but it also has additional metaphysical structure, additional metaphysical buildings, for want of another word, printed into the land and printed into the area around it. It's a pretty epic location, and I don't think we're going to get as much out of it as we might until we fly over there, until we have agents fly over there and move into one of the little huts there and meditate out everything that's actually, and try and catalogue what's on the place. But I just want to mark that place as not just spiritually significant, not just as the site of Findhorn, but it's a much, much older site that they were piggybacking on. Now it is cleansed of evil influence, and we'll see what happens in the next era of its existence. And we'll see what happens in the next epoch of its existence. And it makes me sad that the light side lost a place like that. And I will tell you straight that love and light, only the singular philosophy of love and light, is the reason they lost it. Because they didn't have anybody combat focused or anyone anti-dark focused to defend themselves. So when the dark side came, they had nothing they could do to stop it. That's what happened to Finn. Now, my course starts on January 23. If you want to be doing this sort of work yourself, I train people from 0 to the tippity top of the game. And you are cordially invited to join us in these group missions. We already have graduate students flying these missions with us. Also, I invite you to watch my unique series where we interview the demon lords of the 7 deadly sins. And they tell some fascinating stories, and they tell us so much about demonic culture, demonic attitude, and how they manipulate humanity. It is fascinating. Also stay tuned, because we'll be doing the next series on all the drugs that the demon lords that run all the drugs that are available in the world. And also the one after that is demonic management. And very, very soon, my book on food will be coming out as well. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Press the button, like the video, and subscribe to my show, because without being funny about it, without being funny about it, our teams are doing something unique and beneficial for all humanity. And it only takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to say what we did, instead of the usual hippie waffle and word salad, which takes about an hour. You're talking to someone who's spiritual and a straight shooter. Yeah, may the force be with you all. Love to you all, and may the force be with you. Bye for now. In my humble opinion.